What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Drinking in Life video. I'm back with my lovely fiance, Courtney, and today we've got a bit of a competition on your hands. On your hands? On our hands. Because you're going down.
I don't think so.
We will be making homemade ice cream. Now, you might read on the thumbnail that this is a pro versus amateur. Courtney, tell them a little bit about your baking experience.
I kind of bake for weddings occasionally, and I'm known to make ice cream about once a week, so...
So she's a professional, as you can see. And she looks lovely today, if I might add. But I am quite the amateur. You see, I will be taking a different approach. She's got her fancy machines, all these fancy ingredients that are gonna make good flavors, those sorts of things. I'm more of a Ziploc bag approach. You know in 5th grade when you had that fun science day where you made ice cream in the Ziploc baggie? That's what we'll be doing here today. So, you have the amateur approach versus the professional approach, and we'll see who comes out on top.
So, you may be wondering, how are we going to judge this competition? There are 3 criteria that we're going to be judging on. The first one is how you use our special ingredient, the wine.
Whoop whoop!
The second is presentation of your ice cream.
Super important.
The third one's the most important, the taste.
I agree, the taste. And we're gonna be as impartial as possible. I'm gonna honestly say if I think hers is better, I'm gonna say that. But I expect her to do the same. Whoever has the most points at the end wins. So, without any further ado, let's start making some ice cream.
So for my recipe today, Jonah thinks that I'm gonna have this super fancy schmancy recipe, when really I think simple is best. So my recipe has 3 ingredients and I'm adding strawberries for decoration, so really 4. So super simple. The first ingredient that we're gonna be using today is just your Moscato. I'm using Barefoot. We're gonna be needing a cup of Moscato.
Take the cap off.
So you can't see it on this side, but I've got my cup right there. And I'm gonna go ahead and pour it into our glass bowl. The next ingredient is sugar. You really don't need that much sugar. We're gonna use 1/4 cup. And now we just need to stir it until the sugar's dissolved. So now that we've got our beginning start to our wine ice cream, I'm gonna go ahead and pour it into my mixing bowl that I'm gonna be using. The next thing that I need is 1.5 cup of whipping cream. Now we're going to add our whipping cream and just stir a little bit as we pour. And now we have to add it to the mixer for the mixer to do all of the hard work. So to whip the ice cream, you want to start off slow and increase the speed about every 2 minutes. So yes, it's going to take a little while, but the machine's doing all the hard work, so it's nice. So I'm going to start it off slowly going. So since the ice cream's already frothy enough and it's not at the 2-minute mark, I'm going to go ahead and increase the speed. So we're gonna keep increasing the ice cream speed, or the speed that the mixer's going, every time that it looks a little bit frothier, because you want it to get sort of stiff, because you're whipping it like a whipped cream. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed it up. So now that my ice cream is pretty much super fluffy, I'm gonna go ahead and stop it. And now I'm gonna add it into my super awesome KitchenAid mixing bowl that'll freeze it for me. These things are super awesome, but you do have to freeze them for a day before you want to make your ice cream. Make sure that it can move properly. Awesome. So now I've just got to let the ice cream mixer do its work. It'll take about 30 minutes for it to freeze.
All right, so I'm gonna be doing a red wine based ice cream, and we're gonna do like a cherry type glaze to it. Like, glaze is right. It's gonna have cherries in it, okay? So we're doing a red wine and cherry ice cream. And the first thing that okay, we're gonna be honest here for a second. I'm using a recipe that I found online. I don't know how to make ice cream off the top of my head, but here's what I'm gonna do. I don't like to use standard measurements where it says 3/4 of a cup of this and 1 pinch of this. No, I'm more estimates. We're just gonna do it by taste. So here we go. I know the first thing I need to do is make a red wine reduction. So I'm gonna add sugar in my red wine to a saucepan here and reduce it. So it says 3/4 a cup. We'll just figure that out. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour here. This is kind of cheating on my, just by feel, because this has 1/4 cup on it. So I know I need like 2-ish of these, but sugar is really good. So we're gonna add a little extra because I like sweet things. All right, so as soon as our wine starts to boil, you can smell it, smells great. We're gonna reduce it a lot in temperature. So we're gonna go to just a simmer here. So I'm all the way on low. And when that happens, we're gonna add our cherries. So I've got about 10 ounces of cherries, and I'm hoping they're gonna fit well in this. I know as they melt, it'll melt down. But we're gonna slowly add our cherries in here. Again, I've got 10 ounces of frozen cherries that we're adding. And we're gonna let these marinate for quite some time. We want this to get really thick in here. Okay, so we need to let this simmer for about 15 minutes. It might take a little longer depending on how cold my cherries still were. They were frozen, so that's good. But so I'm gonna go ahead and start making the ice cream base. So this is gonna be like the glaze that goes on top. We're gonna get into the ice cream now. The first thing that we need to do is make the vanilla base to this ice cream. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our condensed milk and combine it with the sea salt and the vanilla first. Now it calls for about 14 ounces. So we're gonna see how good I am at pouring from memory. Look at that, it looks like icing. I think it's probably what it looks most like. All right, so I'd say that's probably, this whole thing's 14 ounces. Good thing I looked at the can and saw that this whole thing was 14 ounces. I would have done like half of what I needed. Woo! All right, off to a great start here, folks. Okay, now we're gonna add our vanilla and our sea salt. This is just a little bit of sea salt, so we'll just do a bit there. Don't want salty ice cream, at least not for this. And then I like vanilla. And to be honest, I don't really remember how much vanilla it calls for. So we're gonna play this all by ear, and if it tastes way too much like vanilla, then that'll be okay. Okay, now that this is all one color, I'm assuming that means it's stirred together, we're gonna let this sit for a second and we're gonna start whipping our heavy cream. So we're gonna put that in this mixing bowl, throw that on the mixer, and get that going. Okay, so now we're gonna be whisking to mix quite quickly this heavy whipping cream. We've got just one carton here, this is 1 pint. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna slowly, we'll pour it all in, but then we're gonna slowly increase the speed as we see it getting stiffer and stiffer and stiffer and stiffer. So, let's do it. All right, so what we have here now are stiff peaks, which I think is what the recipe called for, and that's why I'm saying it so enunciatedly. So what it tells me to do next is take 1 cup of this and put it with the condensed milk mixture we made, and put that into the mixing bowl and fold it together. Lots of lingo there. Not sure I'm gonna do it perfectly, but we're gonna give it our best shot. All right, so this is, I think, the texture we want. There's no more clumps, it's all been folded together nicely. Okay, so before adding everything to our final ice cream and then going for the freezing, the Ziploc bagging method, what I'm gonna need to do is chop up some dark chocolate, because we're gonna throw that in there, because that makes everything better. And then we're also gonna add our cherry glaze, our wine cherry reduction. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop my chocolate now. All right, I think that's gonna be plenty of chocolate. Hopefully that doesn't melt. Hopefully this is still quite cold. In order to make things cool faster, I separated the cherries from the wine reduction. And what I'd hope to do now is these cherries are still pretty big. I mean, if we look at this, that's a big cherry bite. So I'm gonna try and chop up my cherries a little bit more. Then we'll add those, mix those in with the ice cream, and then we'll put in the Ziploc bag. So here we go. All right, so now that our cherries are all pulled apart into these smaller pieces, I'm gonna finish adding those, and then we'll add our reduction, and we'll get to shaking. hopefully it'll taste like wine, or else I'm losing a point. Now for the hardest part, pouring it into a Ziploc bag. So I'm definitely used to using a smaller Ziploc bag than this, but I thought, let's try doing it all at once. What could go wrong? All right, so now, for those of you that don't remember, what we're gonna do is put this baggie inside the other baggie that's full of ice. And if we can do that well and then shake it up, it should start to turn to ice cream, but I think it's gonna be a lot of shaking because this is a lot of ice cream. All right, now we add salt and lots of it, so I'm going for the free pour section here. And we have the age-old saying here, more is more. And now, we shake. After about 10 minutes of shaking, it would appear the only thing that's frozen are my hands. They are red and cold. So I'm gonna open this up and just confirm that it's not really frozen. Well, actually, if you kind of look on the sides here, we're starting to get a little bit of ice forming here. Like, look at that, that looks like ice cream. Tastes like it too, that's really good. But what I'm gonna go ahead and do actually is make this into a smaller portion. Put this in a smaller Ziploc bag, shake that in ice, and I think it'll go quickly. And I only need a little to beat Courtney, right? Just gotta present like 1 cup to her, so we'll do that. All right, it's time to open her up and see what we got. All right, so it's definitely much more condensed than the last one. Seems a little runny, but let's plate our ice creams here and see what they look like. All right, what do you think?
I think yours turned out a lot better than I expected. Not gonna lie, I'm a little worried, but I know mine tastes great.
Okay, so 3 categories. First, presentation. What do we think? Who takes the cake here?
I wish you could see the strawberry layers that were in mine. They kind of disappeared.
The ice cream, I think, kind of melted over them a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, so there are strawberry layers
look
in
how
here.
fresh those strawberries are. They do look very vibrant.
Thank you.
But
yours looks pretty great.
So first of all, let me explain the presentation here. We've got the Ghirardelli dark square here that you can just pull out and bite into it. Delicious. A little bit of ice cream. Then we've got a cherry and some basil, for greenery. And then you can see the chunks. Look at that. You got cherry in there. You got dark chocolate. It looks pretty good, doesn't it? Doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So if you had to vote for who takes a presentation point, who would you vote for?
I would vote for yours.
Me too. All right, so 1-0. All right, now let's do taste for wine. Which one tastes more like the wine? So here we go. First taste, actually, for both of us, I think.
Gotta get past the strawberries.
I think the red wine, I was expecting to be more potent than the white wine, but actually you can really taste the Moscato in yours. So honestly, I have to give you the point on that one. Do you agree?
I would agree. Yours tastes great, but
yeah, it does.
why?
Which brings us to that third point. So 1-1. So if you had to choose one to eat, Courtney, which one would you prefer?
I can't eat them. I've got food in my mouth.
Oh, you can't talk right now?
No.
All right. I think her ice cream is wonderful and delicious, and I would eat it all day. But the complexity of my ice cream is unrivaled. The dark chocolate, the cherry, the wine, the vanilla, you can taste all those things. It makes for a really, really nice ice cream. So without any bias, I honestly would say that I think I like mine more. What would you say?
I would too. Mine is, which I was going for like a Moscato strawberry shortcake, and I think I nailed it.
Yeah, you could have done like graham cracker like on the rim or something for presentation. I didn't know that's what you're going for. That would have been super cool.
Yeah, was my strawberry shortcake Moscato ice cream. But if I had to choose which one would I would pick yours.
Oh, you're so sweet. Well, this has been a competitive pro versus amateur wine ice cream making video. Thank you guys if you made it this far for sticking around to the end. I know it's been a long one. Hopefully it's been pretty nice, you know, pretty satisfying to watch all the circular spinning. And
Pretty
those sorts of things.
delicious.
It's delicious for us. So leave us a comment. Give us a recipe that you would use for ice cream or anything else. And if there's any other videos you'd like to see us make, leave a comment on that below. As always, thanks for watching and continue to drink in life. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Oh my God.